Hey, John, thanks for having me back out today.
You bet.
Man, I appreciate it. Based on all the things that we talked about last time I was out to visit, I was able to go back and do my homework and put a few things together that I want to share with you.
Okay.
Today's analysis is really all about you, based on your needs, your customers, and the growth that you want to enjoy. We're going to talk about your customer's experience. How is it that people are looking for you? Where are they looking for you? What's available to them in the market as far as your competitors, and really how you expose yourself to those folks out there in the world at large. That was several of the questions that I asked last visit out. This is an idea, of course, nobody knows better than you exactly how competitive your industry is, but would you have ever thought that there were that many players in commercial fire sprinklers just within roughly the area you serve?
Wow.
Because I know we had certainly talked about the fact that you do have an Albuquerque location, you have the strong presence here in Central Texas, and then also in Houston. There's a lot of opportunity out here, apparently, just based on the number of folks that are out there. I mean, surely you would agree, it's competitive.
It is.
But that's just according to what Google says. Now, speaking of Google, this is an actual snapshot when I go out there and I search Sprinklers, Texas. Now, of course, these areas here, do you know what they are in the purple? That's actually the paid inclusion. That's the paid search. What I like to refer to as the Florida section. You'll see the Panhandle here and then the peninsula there. All this means is you can actually see nowadays there's a little yellow marker there that says ads. That wasn't there until just a few months ago, but those are the folks that are paying to actually have a shot at being clicked on.
Right.
So now the next look is probably the more coveted of the two, and that's the organic search results. No amount of money paid to Google is going to have any impact on how you're perceived and how you're ranked here. This is purely based on the merit, the content of your website, and how Google perceives you. So let's take a step further. Speaking of your website, this is a quick snapshot of what your homepage looks like. There's several things that you do right with your current website, and really one of the most evident is a relevant graphic. You'd be surprised how many people in your industry don't put immediately out there something that they're associated with. I mean, heck, if Ford manufactures cars, you would expect to see a truck or a van on their homepage. Well, there you go with the sprinkler head, not only a live picture of it, but it's also incorporated very nicely into your logo. However, there's a couple of opportunities that are just right there on the surface, and that is, there's not any prominent way of contacting. When somebody looks immediately at your homepage, does your phone number even appear on there? I don't think it does. And there's not a call to action. There's not really any reason for people to dig deeper, to explore the other pages of your site, and to really immerse themselves in the kind of solutions that you can provide them. Now, in terms of the detailed website metrics, there's a lot at work here. Now, we use a third-party site called freegrader.com.
Right.
Freegrader.com is widely held as the benchmark in our industry for judging how Google perceives a business website. So from this area up, these are kind of the things that you see on the surface. If this were an automobile, this is the spoiler, this is the racing stripes, if you will. Now, the first thing that we point out when we analyze SafeSprinklers.com is the absence of a Facebook page. Now, you may very well think, what good is a Facebook page? We're a business here. Furthermore, we're a commercial business, really appealing to industrial applications and whatnot. Facebook, in the eyes of Google, is the preeminent social networking platform. They don't put much, if any, emphasis on other social networking platforms. The importance with Facebook is it's a way for your site to be perceived by Google as being relevant and being fresh and being up to date without necessarily having to update your site per se, add pages to or content to your site per se. So with a active business Facebook fan page embedded to or connected to your business's website, whenever you're updating Facebook, Google recognizes it and it sees you as being a little bit fresher, a little bit more relevant than your competitors out there that may not have a social networking aspect of their online presence, or probably just as bad, neglect it and don't update it very regularly. A mobile website, you're very, very astute to have a mobile website. Earlier in 2014, the number of searches that are done for mobile devices like smartphones and tablets is now actually greater than the number of searches that are done on conventional laptops and desktops.
Wow.
So it's very, very important to have that presence. Then from here, this is kind of what's going on under the hood. These are the things that you don't see as much on the surface. But the domain authority loosely translates into the age of your current URL with its current host. So judging from this, your current URL has been in your current host's hands for maybe 3 or 4 years. A sitemap file. What that is essentially when you're walking into the mall, let's say, and as soon as you come out of the parking structure, there's that map that says you are here, the
Right.
food court's there, the shoe store's here. This essentially is a map that's running in the background that we as the end user don't see, but the Google search spiders do see. So Google tends to place more value on sites that care enough to say, hey Google, this is what's going on in this site. We've organized the contents in such a way that it's very easy for you to see what's going on.
Right.
We have nothing to hide. Typically, those sites tend to rank organically higher. Google likes them because it can access those sites and assess those sites so much more quickly. Main headings and number of pages, so on and so forth. There's also several other aspects that are important to Google. Now, with your score, 58 out of 100 is not bad. There are several businesses I've seen have scored far worse than this. However, you can do a lot better. For example, something as important and as vital as the safety of people. You know, you're charged with safeguarding folks and preventing and mitigating the fire damage. Here's a guy in a small town in central Texas that runs a pizza delivery company, yet he scores a 74?
He does pizza well.
I would imagine. But just take a look, if you will. See how many extra points, just by being able to color in those 2 dots, that score has gone from a 58 from that third-party grader to a 74. So now imagine if your score were higher, we can interpret that as being the greater opportunity for your organic results to be better.
Right.
Alrighty. Now, also, Google and the major search engines take into account the consistency of your information as it's presented out there on the web. Now, again, this is through a third-party analytic tool, and it goes out and it shows us exactly how you're represented as far as Yahoo sees you, how you're represented in terms of your name, your address, the phone number, your web address, as how Facebook sees you, Bing, Yelp, and there's dozens of these different sites that are taken into account.
Looks like I have some error.
Exactly. You'll see that 85% of the time, you're actually consistent. So therefore, when the search spiders are going out there and they're looking on the web at large, somebody who is correct only 15% of the time versus somebody whose information is consistent and lockstep 50% of the time or 60% of the time, it impacts greatly how you show up in the organic results. Because at the end of the day, Google wants to ensure that if you're searching for something specific, I, as Google, want to bring you quality results to look
Right.
at. So, as far as Facebook goes, this is actually a look at what your counterparts in Albuquerque are doing. Did you realize that within your same company, they actually have a Facebook fan page? Very, very simple, very straightforward, a pertinent graphic, a depiction of what the service vehicles look like. And one of the unique things that Google is looking for is the magic number, if you will, is twice weekly posts to Facebook. It doesn't really matter what the content is, they're just looking for that regular interval of activity. So the beautiful thing that we do, and not to go off too much on a Facebook tangent here, is just as we did for our pizza parlor example on a couple of screens back, we're not relying on you to go into your Facebook page and make those posts. We have dozens of buckets, if you will, of pertinent industry-wide information that we will post out there on your behalf at those regular intervals. So we certainly encourage you to share photos and share input as you see fit or have the time to, but that's where we really shine, as we come in to ensure that relevant information is put out there on a consistent basis for you on your behalf. And here's an example of actually a couple of other folks that we're doing the same for. Another big piece of your online visibility is the claiming, and not so much just the claiming, but the fulfilling of your Google Plus or Google Places page. And I'm really happy that somebody here within your organization has realized the value of doing that. You've got a pertinent graphic out here, you've got a lot of factual information, and this also enhances the opportunity for you to show up on the map, in the map results on Google searches. Mobile accessibility, as I spoke a bit to earlier, is such a huge factor. In fact, 70% of mobile searchers call a business directly from the search results. And having a web presence that is mobile friendly has everything to do with people being able to connect easily to you when they need you. Non-mobile sites are actually penalized by Google. And what I mean by that is Google and the major search engines are intelligent enough to know this searcher is entering a search query, fire protection Texas. Is he initiating that search query from a mobile device, or is he doing it from a traditional setting? If he's doing it from a traditional laptop or a desktop, Google will then send into the collection of sites that Google feels like have the best opportunity to answer that searcher's question on a static desktop platform.
Right.
Whereas you may rank second or third, for argument's sake, in a desktop search, not having a strong mobile presence, thus a mobile website, you may not show up at all on the first pages of the same search done from a mobile device. So again, knowing that more and more searches are being done from mobile devices, in fact already the majority of searches are done from mobile devices, do you see how important it is to ensure that you're going to show up equally well from either platform? Now, something else that is a unique opportunity is what we call digital brand awareness. And I'm sure you've done this before. You've searched for cheap flights to Vegas, or you've searched for an oil filter for your car, and then 3 or 4 days later you're online reading the news at the Wall Street Journal or looking at the sports scores on ESPN. Now all of a sudden there's an ad there off to the side that's showing you wholesale discount auto parts or cheap fares to Vegas,
right,
or what have you. That's something that we offer as well now. We've, to this point, really talked about a presence when people are actively searching for your type of product or service. Well, this satisfies the passive portion of the equation, essentially. You might have looked for it in the past, you may look for it again, but it's going to be able to serve that reminder for you Oh, by the way,
Sure.
did you in fact book your flight to Vegas? Did you in fact order those auto parts that you needed? Because if not, we suggest that you probably hook up with one of these providers. So video it continues to grow, and the impact from video is just undeniable. 69% of all global traffic on the internet is in fact video. It's the fastest growing advertising format, and affluent consumers, the folks that you most probably want to engage you for your products and services, are definitely impacted by video. It offers 50 times better chances to reach the front page of Google versus a traditional
Really?
website alone.
Wow.
So, as far as your current presence with us online, you've got a couple of very good things going for you. You have a tremendous number of impressions. And when we pull your traffic, this is actually from when your program went live, November 1st of last year, through the end of June this year, you've got 113,000 impressions. That means your information had the ability to be viewed by searchers 113,000 times. Now, you placed high enough in the search results to have garnered 1,179 clicks during that time. So in terms of opportunities, your clicks are only converting, your click-through rate is only about 1%. For over 100,000 potential clicks, we're only converting about 1,000 into actual clicks. So there is some opportunity for improvement here, and this immediately tells me, looking at your cost per click, typically when your click-through ratio is that low, we're just not bidding high enough or committing enough of a budget to ensure that you're coming up high enough in the search results or across the top or down the side to really get a better number of clicks. Exactly. So this is an example of what your business profile looks like on superpages.com. And of course, they have the ability then to click and continue on to your website. And in terms of print, you still have a robust program with us. Your content is excellent. Anything that you could realistically want to say about commercial fire sprinkler service, inspections, installation, it's covered. You've got multiple contact points here, a fax number, your local number, the Houston number, a San Antonio number. Remember how we looked at your landing page, your home page on your website? We couldn't find a single number. That's probably why the print remains so strong for you, is you make it really easy for folks to find you. The reliability factors, the fact that you participate in the Super Guarantee program, the fact that you're licensed and bonded, all of those things play into why people would want to call you. And then of course you've got really relevant and eye-catching artwork. As I mentioned earlier, the depiction of the sprinkler head in there, that says it all right there. It's something to help stop the eye and start the engagement process. So as far as content in terms of the print ad, you're hitting on several of these factors. You've given them several reasons to call. Your ad is very easy to read and understand. You have a pertinent and appropriate image on there. It's very simple. It's very straightforward. So hats off to you in terms of the print. You continue to do a very good job there. And in terms of partnering with Dex Media, why would you want to do that? Well, you know, we've always been there for you in a print capacity, and we'll be there for you moving forward for a digital capacity. Based on the partnerships that we have, we feel like we bring a superior value to the table. We're one of only 16 certified Google small business partners in the country. Secondly, our SEO vendor is actually ranked number 2 out there in an independent study. So be it bringing clients to you via pay-per-click or bringing clients to your door via optimization efforts, we've got you covered with some of the strongest providers out there in the industry. So let's take a closer look specifically at what's going on now.
Okay.
Good.